Bidding is now open, and if you have the necessary change, you may be able to own your piece of Princess Diana. On June 26th, there's a big auction at Julien's involving 140 pieces relating to Princess Diana. Some are memorabilia like pictures or sketches, but there's also fashion and accessories, and some of them are pretty iconic. I checked those items for you, and at the time of filming this video, in the days leading up to this big auction, some of the bids were already in the six figures. If you now ask where does all this money go, the proceeds will be donated to charity, to Muscular Dystrophy UK. And in this video, I'm going to look into the highlights of this auction. Just as a side note here, this is a non-sponsored video. I'm just sharing my personal opinion and my research here. Everything I say is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Liz. I talk about luxury and fashion once a week. So if you want to learn more about fashion history, the fashion business and fashion events, come on over, join the fun and subscribe to my channel. Let's start with an icon for an icon. I was so excited when I saw it because the original lambskin Lady Dior bag is part of this auction. When you think of Lady Diana in the 90s, very often the pictures of her carrying this bag come to mind. And this bag was gifted to Princess Diana during an official visit to France by Bernadette Chirac, who was then the First Lady of France. And looking back, it was a genius marketing strategy by Dior to give this bag to Princess Diana. This bag was initially called Chouchou, and it's inspired, the stitching is inspired by the chairs in the Maison Dior. And originally it paid tribute to a Dior muse called Mitza Bricard. But then the Chouchou was gifted to Princess Diana at a time where she had already established herself as a fashion person. People already called her a fashion icon. And then when she carried this bag, it basically took it to the next level. It made it world famous. And this bag also stands for something in Princess Diana's personal style, because after her separation from Prince Charles, she started to wear more international designers, so not only British designers to promote them. And Dior is a French brand, and she paired this bag, for example, with a Versace shift dress on an official visit in Argentina in November 1995. There are also famous pictures of her when she carried the bag, when she hugged a pupil at the conductive education in Birmingham. So this bag not only represents her new style, it also shows how involved Princess Diana was by the people and how they appreciated it. I would say in this auction, this bag is probably one of the most important items, and this bag is one of the many accessories in the auction. There's also another Versace silk bag in beige. There is a Prada bag also in a beige champagne tone. I think I saw an alligator bag and another black leather bag by Versace, and there are many shoes. But I think among all these items, fashion and accessories, this bag will probably achieve a record sum, because in terms of fashion history, this bag is so important, not only for the style story of Princess Diana herself, but also for fashion history overall, also for marketing of accessories. I would not be surprised if Dior themselves would bid for that bag, and I'm really curious to see who is going to get this very special bag. When Princess Diana started to wear more international designers, Gianni Versace was the first one to collaborate with her, and we also know that they had a very long friendship. So I was also really excited to see garments and accessories by Versace in this auction. I found 3 of them. One is a black pinstripe suit. This suit was custom made for Princess Diana, and it was also reflected in Gianni Versace's Spring-Summer 1997 ready-to-wear collection. There is another pale blue shift dress in the auction, and I think the most interesting garment is actually this 2-piece lilac suit. Which was also custom made for Princess Diana, but it also looks a bit like Look 22, also from the Spring-Summer 1997 ready-to-wear collection. And what is so interesting, inside of the blazer there is a D embroidered into the lining, and around it there is the signature Gianni Versace Greek border. And Gianni Versace contributed a lot to the development of Princess Diana's personal style. Some people called it revenge couture, because you could see that she was more and more confident, also wore more fitted fitted clothing, and of course Gianni Versace's style, which is also a bit sexy, corresponded to her new development in fashion. In an interview with Vanity Fair, he said he just had a fitting with the princess 1 week prior to that interview, and he found she looked so serene. It is definitely a special moment in her life, and it seems that she found herself. Princess Diana first discovered Gianni Versace when Anna Harvey showed her a picture of Naomi Campbell wearing an embellished column gown by the designer, and Princess Diana was intrigued because she loved to play with fashion. She wanted to give something unexpected, and Gianni Versace's style with his contours and shapes and this touch of sexiness was exactly what she wanted to wear at the time. And I have to say, when I think of Princess Diana, I immediately think of Gianni Versace and his designs, especially also this sleek and glamorous look towards the end of her life. And Princess Diana was very much involved in creating the garments. She exchanged notes with the designers, she was in touch with them, and also told her how they should tweak the designs for her needs. In the case of Versace, she sometimes asked to remove the medusas, or what some people call the gaudy elements of his designs, to make it suit to her look a bit better. For me, Gianni Versace and Princess Diana just go hand in hand. It's a beautiful story of a designer and a princess, but also a lifelong friendship. It kind of reminded me of Karl Lagerfeld and Princess Caroline of Hanover, what I said in my other video. And I think when we think of the 90s and Princess Diana comes to mind, Gianni Versace comes to mind, or the other way around. So I was really excited to also see Versace in this auction. Another highlight of the Princess Diana auction is a floral crêpe de chine dress by Belleville-Sassoon. It's also called the caring dress because initially it was designed for an official visit to Australia in 1988, but Princess Diana kept wearing this dress for other official visits and also when she went to hospitals and sat with the patients. This dress is very colorful. People also assume that she loved wearing it because she knew about the effect for children, because it's kind of a fun dress. It's not a scary suit if you visit sick children. So that may have been one of the motivations behind that dress. And today, royals and celebrities are applauded for re-wearing garments, which I find a bit ridiculous because I think this should be something normal. But okay, people always want to see something new. Princess Diana already did this in the 80s. And it was actually a breaking of a royal etiquette because this was nothing that you were supposed to do, but she did it anyways. And the press was actually a bit annoyed about this dress and that she wore it so often because if people read the magazines, they could not tell was this a new picture of Princess Diana or not. And we know the paparazzi always wanted the newest and most current pictures of Princess Diana. And the Daily Mail even wrote an article about this. I think the headline was something like, looks familiar, yes, it's that dress again. So you could see this dress polarized, even though I think it has a very positive story attached to it. And I find it interesting because it may not be a brand that everybody knows, but the story and the values linked to this dress are very interesting. Matthew Story, the curator of Royal Style in the Making, also said that Princess Diana was very much involved in creating also this dress. She exchanged handwritten letters with David Sassoon behind Belleville-Sassoon, and she actually also sent a handwritten thank you note after the garment was delivered. In this handwritten note, she said, "Dear David, thank you very much for the two lovely designs for our trip abroad." So it was for this dress and another one. So you can already see Princess Diana took fashion very seriously. She was very much involved, and then she also did not forget to thank people personally for the designs. Princess Diana wore this dress a lot, so it's very well documented. There are, I think, 8 photographs of different trips where she wore the dress. One is also a trip to Spain where she paired it with purple Ferragamo block heels, and these heels were auctioned off in 2024 and they achieved $127,000 US. Princess Diana wore multiple outfits by Belleville-Sassoon. She actually discovered David Sassoon through her mother. And initially she was also in touch with him for an engagement outfit, but then she opted for a suit that she picked up at Harrods. but he did design the outfit for her honeymoon send-off in 1981. It was this salmon pink ensemble with the hat. The hat that Princess Diana wore for her honeymoon send-off is also part of this auction. This hat was designed by the Scottish milliner John Boyd, who worked for the royals and also with Princess Diana. And it's a straw hat with a silk trim and some feathers. And it was one of her favorite hats. She re-wore it in 1983 in Australia, but she also had other versions in maroon and beige. There is an interesting item in the auction, which is not a dress that Princess Diana actually wore, but it represents the process of creating all these iconic garments. It's a dress toile by Jacqueline Mills from 1985. And what is a toile? This is used in haute couture. And it is basically, it looks like a dress which is fitted to the body of the person who is going to wear the actual dress. And then this toile is taken to cut the pattern very exactly on the particular fabric of the end dress, we could say. And this toile comes in two parts, and what is also interesting is it's from 1985, and when you look at it, it still represents her early look, this more romantic style, the fairy tale style. It's very different to what she wore later in the 1990s. In this Princess Diana auction, there's also her 1986 dress by Catherine Walker with falcons on it. So it's actually quite a simple design in this white or ivory tone, and then falcons are embroidered on it. It could be a migrational pattern, and it was designed specifically for her Gulf tour, amongst others to the UAE and Saudi Arabia. And the falcon is actually a tribute to the native bird of Saudi Arabia. Catherine Walker also mentioned this particular dress in her memoir and said that it inspired a ready-to-wear collection. And what I also found interesting is when you look into the auction, there's a lot with another falcon dress by Palmer Harding. And at first I was a bit confused. I did not really know what it was, but then the description said that this was a contemporary interpretation of this falcon dress. And it's actually a tribute to Princess Diana because she very often promoted British designers, not only established ones, but also up-and-coming ones. And she also famously supported London Fashion Week. So I actually think this is a very nice idea that Julien's collaborated with designers to create a contemporary interpretation and also pay tribute to what Princess Diana did for British fashion. Catherine Walker designed for Princess Diana from 1981 onwards until her death in 1997, so she knew everything about all the visits, all the tours, all the requirements that Princess Diana had to come up to, but she also closely followed Princess Diana's style development. So we have this example from the mid-80s, and then we also have something in the auction from the mid-90s. It's a pinstriped blazer dress or jacket dress that Princess Diana wore in New York. She was photographed leaving the Carlisle Hotel in this dress, and during this trip she received an award, and she also gave an award to her friend fashion editor Liz Tiberius in the framework of the CFDA. This pinstripe blazer dress is an example of the times when Princess Diana wore the so-called power suits in the 1990s, but there's also another example that shows yet another dimension of Princess Diana's style, the so-called revenge couture, when she became more and more confident, when she wore more fitted clothing. She wore it for the opening of London Fashion Week in 1995 and then also during a trip to Hong Kong. And Catherine Walker also wrote in her memoir about this particular dress that she looked into her notes and that she found that Princess Diana was going through this transformation, and that she also wanted that the dress or the designs make her smile, to also capture this moment in her life. And this also very much reflects what Gianni Versace said about Princess Diana. Roughly at the same time, he said it was her moment, she looked serene, and also Catherine Walker wrote that there was a certain radiance around her and that they wanted to reflect that also with the designs. In the Princess Diana auction, there's yet another example of Princess Diana's power dressing, that she also liked to wear a lot of these power suits, especially in the late 80s and early 90s. This was an overall trend because if you remember, it was the time of the yuppies. Also, more and more women entered high-level jobs. So this was an overall fashion trend, but it's also a signature characteristic of Princess Diana's style in the late 80s and early 90s. And this Escada suit also represents this. It's a very well documented suit because it was photographed 6 times. So this suit again is a garment that Princess Diana wore multiple times. The auction also involves a very interesting ensemble by Bruce Oldfield. It's a yellow floral ensemble which Princess Diana wore at Royal Ascot. She was seen in it when she was in the carriage with the Queen Mother, and then when she also walked with Sarah Ferguson. And it represents a kind of style that the press then also dubbed Dynasty dye. This was the time of Dynasty, and this dress was very much this Dynasty style. It was very bold, it was very colorful. I actually appreciated that she wore it because it showed not only that she was aware of trends, that she liked to play with fashion, but it also showed that she did not shy away from wearing colors, especially at events like Royal Ascot that are a bit more traditional. And in an interview, the designer Bruce Oldfield said that he actually did not really use bold prints very often, but he showed something to Princess Diana and it somehow triggered something in her. She liked it, and then she said she really wants to work with this because it's something very different to what ladies usually wear at Royal Ascot. So it already shows that she wanted to have this surprise factor. Maybe she also wanted to shock, maybe it was a sign of rebellion. So I think this is also a very interesting dress within this auction. One iconic garment of the Princess Diana auction is a red nylon ski suit. And when I think about Princess Diana, I also think about the skiing trips with her sons to Switzerland, but also Austria. And this particular ski suit was photographed multiple times. She re-wore it, and she also wore it in Lech in Austria. So I found this really interesting from the Austrian perspective. I think this ski suit became so iconic not only because of the bright and daring color, it was also how she styled it, for example, the braided headbands and the gold earrings. So this is definitely also one of the highlights of this auction. So now I would like to know about you. What are your personal highlights of this Princess Diana auction? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by doing 2 very simple things. First of all, please just hit that like button. And the second is subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. If you prefer to read about fashion, I also have a lot of articles on my website, thepinklookbook.com. And if you have time, please also check out my fashion label, Pelagona. And if you enjoyed this video about Princess Diana's iconic garments and accessories, I have another video for you which may be interesting. Thank you very much for joining me in this video, and see you in the next one.